Yes, a very exciting Sunday evening. I have Sean Critchfield, Liz Matthews, and the guest, Paul Draper, in the house. So stick around. It's Curtain Call with Erik Ball. My producer, Chris, does this to me every week. He keeps the TV on in the studio here, so it totally distracts me. I'm very ADD, so I don't even know who's playing San Francisco and New England. But, yeah, I'm kind of glued now because there's action in the corner. It's like when you see a moth in the room, you can't help but just kind of, be drawn to it. And
that was the problem I was having last week sitting over there. I was trying to stay engaged, but
it was really crazy.
Well, you can watch football, and then we'll talk amongst ourselves.
That sounds, maybe that's what's going to happen. Well, thanks for tuning in. This is Erik Ball, and you're listening to Curtain Call, and this is basically your community theater source sit-down live talk show, and what we do is we talk about just things that might be of general interest in the theater community. We also try to bring in some special guests from time to time, promote some shows from time to time, just do things that theater people would like to hear. And I'm thrilled because while we're missing Glenn Heath this week, he's out doing his theater thing. He's got 50,000 projects on his plate. God love the man. And here's the thing. He is never, ever bored. This boy is always busy. But we do have Sean Critchfield. And Sean, I'm going to mention, we're hoping maybe he's going to be in the studio in a more regular basis. And so I'm very, very thrilled about that. So welcome again, Sean.
Thank you. Yeah,
and then
I'm going to put a cot in the corner.
We can do that. Or one of those hanging chairs.
That's right.
They have at Pier 1.
This is a high-class place. I like
this really is.
You'd fit in.
This coming from the guy who just had another seat that kept dropping. He couldn't sit, the seat, and we had to get him another seat.
Are you calling me fat?
No, that's not it at all. I was just And Liz, thank you for joining us again. Always a pleasure. The air is lighter in the room because you are here, my dear. I'm thrilled that you're here. And
absolutely, man. I'm telling you, it is my pleasure to be the least attractive person in the room. I'm sitting with some sexy individuals.
Well, you are. Now, and of course, our guest this evening, Paul Draper. Paul, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Now, we need to talk about Paul for a second here because Paul's a mentalist. And he's an actor as well and a teacher, but he does a lot of things. But
he does everything.
But this intrigues me to no end, and I'm going to play the ignorant one here for a little while. And I was curious, maybe you could fill us in on what does that mean? What does that actually mean to be a mentalist?
Sure, absolutely. A mentalist is a branch of the world of magic. It's someone who's able to look at you and know things about you. In my particular case, I come from the world of cultural anthropology. So my job was to be dropped into a culture or society and come to some understanding of who they were just by observing them. And now, rather than doing that in a classroom or in a tribal situation, I've taken that to the stage, where I bring people on stage and I'm able to tell who's lying or not. I'm able to tell choices that people are going to make, and I'm able to convince people to make the choices I want them to make.
So you're like that one series, and I don't know who's in it, but the guy who...
The Mentalist.
Is it called The Mentalist?
There's another one called Lie to Me.
Lie to Me, that's it. That's the one I was thinking about, where he just is more of a acutely aware, kind of with a psychological background or whatever, that he can kind of study the mannerisms and the way someone acts or the way someone talks, and then kind of put together a mental equation of what they're trying to not communicate or something like that.
Right, absolutely. And if people want to see more of what it is that I do, they can go to my primary website, paulwdraper.com, or go to mentalmysteries.com and see just the mentalism aspect. Erin actually came, Elizabeth Matthews actually came, Elizabeth Matthews.
It's because of my Facebook, I think. Everyone calls me Erin.
So Elizabeth came and saw me perform just last week, 1 block away from Hollywood Boulevard, there at the world-famous Magic Castle.
Aha!
And so you can ask her what she saw.
Goodness. It was, I can't even describe it. It was amazing. No. First of all, you walk in and you have to, say a secret password to an object, and then the bookshelf opens, and you go into this magic castle. But Paul's act was like sleight of hand, and it was, amazing. He had this card trick. And
How long have you been doing magic?
Since I was 8 years old, I've been fascinated in the world of magic and also the world of the paranormal. But then I ran away from that to do musical theater for a while. Then I ran away from that to become a cultural anthropologist and even taught here at UNLV for a few years.
Oh, wow.
And then I fled from that to go and do this full time, return to the childhood passion. How many people as adults get to do what they wanted to do when they were 8 years old?
That's fantastic. That's awesome. And it just sounds, I mean, just sitting here, it just sounds intriguing and engaging, I guess, is the biggest thing.
He's very talented.
And I've used
ridiculous.
Sean Critchfield has been a great asset to me over the years in my work. He's helped me to write better scripts, to make better choices from a directing standpoint. Because I can certainly stand in a room full of corporate people and help them with their cultural differences and these issues. But bringing that to the stage took the advice and the expertise of an actor and director like Sean here.
Oh, wow. You seem to touch the hearts and minds and souls of many people, Mr. Critchfield. That's very nice. Well, that's very cool, man. Well, again, his website is paulwdraper.com, or you can go over to www.mentalmysteries.com and get some more general information about what he's talking about. He also has some videos up on YouTube. I'm sure you can just search with his name and something will pop up there. And on his website, you can even register to receive his monthly newsletter, and it's chock full of fun stuff and information that's all about what we're talking about here, which is being a mentalist and kind of the kind of complete interaction of being able to quote unquote read someone.
You know, it's incredibly impressive too. I've had the pleasure of, I've known Paul for years. We actually met. He was my stage manager on Seussical when I played Horton the Elephant.
Man of La Mancha.
Man of La Mancha.
Where you played
it was Sancho Panza.
Sancho Panza.
So he was my stage manager, and we got chatting, and he found out that I was a hobbyist magician, and then I performed for him, and it was really funny because he kind of played dumb a little bit, and then afterwards revealed who he was, and he's a known name in the magic community. So it was funny to realize that, but also to see Paul use what he does live and in person is amazing. Like, I remember I saw him at a show in Hollywood, and I had gone with him and was just attending in the audience, and out of the blue, and I know his show very well, and out of the blue in the middle of his show, he stops and he pinpoints this guy in the audience. By the time he's done, he's revealed to the audience that this guy is a cartoonist on The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
And afterwards, I was like, how did you figure that out? And the part that baffles me is that he plays a guessing game that seems like it would be dangerous for live theater, and I'd love to hear him talk a bit about this, because he said that he saw a pencil that is used specifically for designing on gels, on the gel things that this guy had when they were mingling in the beginning. And from that, he was able to put the rest of it together, and then it was through, he was like, we're in Hollywood, we're in the heart of Hollywood, it's animation, so I know he animates for a big studio, and the more I kind of questioned him, the more the pieces fell into line.
That's amazing that your brain works like that.
Oh, it's like a modern day,
This is the way to practice this. Here's a great way to practice this, and I love to do this here in town. It's a little dark. You go to estate sales. Now, estate sales are often the homes of those that are deceased, but sometimes they're individuals who have just left town and don't want to deal with these possessions anymore. But go to estate sales, walk through the house, and at the end, go up to the person doing the estate sale, because it's usually a company that's doing it, not a family member. Check first if it's a family member. And then make guesses about the person who's recently deceased. Tell them who you think they were, what you think they did for a living, man or woman, their age range. You can know this by the items that they buy, the books that they read, the things that they surround themselves with. I used to do this in college, where I'd have a group of students and I'd say, let's go to all of your dorm rooms, take down any photos of yourself or anything with your name on it. And then at the end, after going to 15 different students' dorm rooms, I'd line up the students and I'd tell them who had which room.
What?
Oh, wow. So it's just a matter of, it's a method of observation. It's a cue awareness.
That's what I always think of.
And can I tell you something? I love that movie because, okay, let me put this together for you. First of all, I must admit, before I go into this, I'm a tiny bit intimidated. Just a little bit, because for one, I'll tell you why. I know the amount of discipline magic takes, okay? And so somebody who's that methodical and that disciplined and that very, very, very driven, and somebody who is very good at reading people. I'm kind of like, let's see, thinking about me right now, and here's the thing. I'm I talk very openly about the fact that I'm ADD and I have a dash of OCD from my mother's side of the family. Thank you, Mom. And so it's kind of like these two things constantly battling each other out. I need perfection and I need order for a very short time. It's very funny. But
little bursts of perfect order.
It needs to happen that way. So it's kind of like I was very, very interested when the new series of Sherlock Holmes movies came out, because for one, I like Robert Downey Jr. I think he's a great, brilliant actor, but I loved how they told the story of what is going on in his mind, because when you read the books, you wonder, how can this guy just be like that? You know, but they kind of spell it out for you, and they kind of show it to you as if you were in his mind, and I think that's great. But I always thought that it was also kind of not that I'm a problem solver like Sherlock Holmes, but that's kind of how my mind races too. I see ADD is often confused as somebody who's not paying attention, somebody who's distracted, but instead they're acutely
someone who
aware.
is acutely aware of everything and is hyper-focused on multiple things all at the same time. In the same reason why Sherlock Holmes in the book had his solution that he took, that was a little bit of speed, you know, a little bit of cocaine, to give him that sort of hyper-alertness, hyper-awareness.
Yeah, and the problem with people with ADD is they don't usually know what to do with all of the information, and that's where the problem comes in. And so I find this fascinating, you know, because I often wonder what I could be doing better personally, what I could be, you know, how I can hone my own senses in order to make it advantageous to what I need to accomplish in that particular moment. So it's kind of like all these things, you know, just sitting here and listening to you talk about how you came, you know, to be and utilize this talent of yours is fascinating to me. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back, and I would like to dive right in and ask you a few very specific questions about this. And maybe we could kind of, I don't know, I want to be careful in saying this, but maybe you can pick our own brains, and we'll see what happens there.
Let's try.
Hang tight. We're here with Paul Draper, Sean Critchfield, Liz Matthews, and I am Erik Boll, and this is Curtain Call. Hang tight.
Hello there, this is Roger Reeves of New York's Peter and the Starcatcher, sending you back to Erik Boll here in Las Vegas.
How fresh is Sweet Tomatoes produce? Let's just say within 24 hours of being in the ground, it's on a refrigerated truck on its way to the restaurant. Sweet Tomatoes food is fresh from the farm to your fork and made from scratch every single day. Sweet Tomato Salad Bar includes fresh tossed signature salads and fresh cut produce, plus 8 made-from-scratch soups, hot pasta, muffins made from scratch. You can also create your own low-fat yogurt dessert. Something healthy and nutritious for the entire family. Treat yourself and your family to fresh, great-tasting, wholesome recipes, fresh seasonal vegetables, and tossed salads prepared every 20 minutes. There's 4 Sweet Tomato locations in the Las Vegas and Henderson area. For more information and hours, visit www.sweettomatoes.com or call 888-374-8358.
A word from the cast of Hot in Cleveland.
Want to hear a joke?
Oh, yeah, sure.
What's the #1 killer of women?
Well, you're still here, so that rules out crankiness.
And tracksuits.
Heart disease.
But that's a joke?
Oh, no, it's an absolute fact, but the American Heart Association says you can save lives by passing it along to 5 women you love.
Aww.
So I'm starting with 3 I tolerate. That's a joke.
Find out more at goredforwomen.org.
A toast to all you caniacs. Ever faithful aficionados of fresh, never frozen premium chicken fingers from Raising Cane's. You are keen connoisseurs of Cane's crispy, extra long crinkle cut fries, dedicated to the made fresh daily cane sauce that twirls tongues in a tastefully tangy tango. Caniacs, we toast you all from Raising Cane's.
5 Las Vegas locations. Go to ilovecanes.com.
Check out Town Square's new hot spot. That's Ranch House Kitchen. They open every day at 8 a.m. and breakfast is served all day long till closing. Formerly known as Cadillac Ranch, the new Ranch House Kitchen has brought an entirely whole new energy to the upper level of Town Square's Restaurant Row, located directly across from the Rave movie theater. Everyone's welcome at Ranch House Kitchen because they cater to all size parties, families, and business gatherings. 3 full bars with your favorite alcoholic beverages, and if you bring the kids 12 and under, Monday through Friday, they eat free. Everybody's invited to ride the mechanical bull for fantastic food, drinks, and a great atmosphere. head down to Ranch House Kitchen, 6593 Las Vegas Boulevard South in Town Square. For reservations, call 702-749-6400.
This is Maggie Wheeler, Janice from TV's Friends, and oh my God, you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Welcome back to Curtain Call. This is Erik Ball. And you are, I'm joined today, actually, by Liz Matthews, Sean Critchfield, and magician, mentalist, and actor Paul Draper. And we're thrilled to have you here, Paul. If you're tuning in for the first time, we're here every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. You can tune in live. There's also this really great iPhone app. You just go to the iPhone app, the App Store or whatever, and you type in KSHP, and it's a free app for this radio station, and then you can listen to the show live on your phone.
Ooh,
it's really, really, really cool
fancy.
and convenient. And if you would like to see, now Glenn's not here this week, and he's kind of our video genius, and I kind of wish he was here this week because Paul is he's going to be working with us and talking to us about kind of this how he does what he does, and I would love to get it on video, but you know, usually we have a video set up, and then you can watch the archive footage of every show that we do on YouTube. Now this program will be on YouTube, but it'll probably just be a series of pictures and a slideshow. So that
I'm
you can...
failing on my job.
No, we need to keep taking pictures.
Right.
But that's okay. I am too, so I'm
I
failing
haven't
too.
even...
We both have C minuses. We'll continue.
I took a picture of that moment.
But the
C-minus smile.
The C- smile. So go to YouTube and search Curtain Call with Erik Ball, and then you can subscribe to our channel there, and then you can see all the archived footage there. If you have any questions, if you're listening live and you have any questions, you want to talk to Paul, or if you have any, anything that would add to the general discussion or topic on hand, you can call us at 221-SAVE, SAVE, 221-SAVE, or if you're a numbers person, 221-7283. But in the meantime, while you're listening, go to our Facebook page. Go to Curtain Call with Erik Ball in the search bar and like us. We love to be liked, and then you guys can follow what's coming up in future shows, and again, get information in websites and dates and things like that for all of our guests that are on the show. And it's good one stop. You know, you can go there and get all your information. So, but like I said before, we're here with Paul Draper. Paul is a mentalist and a magician and an actor, and there's lots of things this guy does. But he's a fascinating man, and we were talking before we went to the commercial break about how does one even remotely approach becoming a mentalist? What does being a mentalist mean?
So what being a mentalist means is being hyper-aware and alert of the people that are around you in the moments that you are trying to read their thoughts, right? And to be aware of as many different cultural things as humanly possible.
Yeah, and I told him I was extraordinarily intimidated.
Right, extraordinarily intimidated. Well, let's play a game. Let's
Okay.
play a game, you and I first.
Let's do it.
I have some little slips of paper that
You
you
wanna
gave
watch
me,
this?
and we just tore them up.
Okay.
I'm going to give you some pieces of paper, and I'll keep some pieces of paper.
Okay.
Grab a pencil or a pen there. You
All
have
right.
one ready. I'm going to draw a picture. I want you to draw a picture of something that you may have drawn as a boy. Think of something you may have drawn as a boy and draw that picture now.
Okay.
Okay? I can see it, but you can't see mine. I've put mine down first. All right? I've made a prediction of the future. While you're still drawing, I've finished mine, and mine's sitting here in front of you.
Okay. And here
A lot of straight lines. You put in the middle, little straight lines there on top. Set it right here on top of this.
Should I turn it over?
Oh, sure. If you either way, just put it right here on top of this. I can see yours, but you can't see mine. Now, I want you now to think of something you would have drawn, like during this season. I think that something you would have drawn during the winter time, something you would have thought of.
Okay.
Great. Now, I've put mine down already. Mine is already on the table. You can't see mine.
Okay, that's right. Your hand's over it even. I can't see it.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, I'm drawing. You can't.
And we're going to do a couple of different ones here.
Okay, well, I'm almost done. I'm very meticulous in my drawing. You have to understand.
And I'm not. So mine is going to have probably
turn it over.
elements.
Maybe.
Sure, let's do that. Now, last one. I want you to start with a square.
Okay.
And then I want you to build out around that square.
Okay.
I want you to start with a square and then build out around that square.
Gotcha.
whatever that means to you.
I'm sure your drawing was good enough for radio.
Right, sure. I'm still drawing mine. Mine's a little more complex.
Okay.
But I can't see yours. Put yours right where the other ones are.
There you go.
Okay, so look at this.
Exciting.
You should be. he's made some drawings. I've made some drawings.
We each made up so I can see this.
Sure. Well, you don't have to stand up. I'll just show you right there.
Okay.
We've each made drawings. The first drawing. Let's see if I can even see where I'm at here. The first drawing that you made was a little. What would you say that is, Elizabeth? Sorry, Elizabeth.
A
snowman. And what is it that I drew next to him? Now I want you to note we also both put 3 fingers on there, and we also both put a top hat on there.
I love that.
You see that?
Oh my goodness.
There are no extra slips of paper. He put his on top of each one of mine.
He drew his first.
Exactly. Now, and I drew mine first every time.
That's
now look at that.
amazing.
What did I draw right there?
Santa on a
That's
sleigh.
Santa Claus on a sleigh, and he's saying ho 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 there with some reindeer. And what did he draw?
A Santa. Oh
a
my
Santa with a hat. Now,
goodness.
mine's not exact, but we had a similar drawing there.
Wow.
Now, you may say, because for that one I said, what would you draw during the season? But people draw stars, they draw snowflakes, they draw many different things. But he's very human-related, thinks about people. The last one here, what is it he drew?
He drew
his
a
first.
house.
He drew a house. And how many windows?
Right
on the
guess
front
there's
there.
2 on the front.
2 on the front, and there's
One
a
on the
chimney.
side
You
and
see
a
the chimney as well? Now take a look at mine. How many windows on the front of mine?
That is
2 on the front.
2 on the front, and is there a
there's a
chimney?
chimney.
Oh
What's too bad is I put the chimney on the wrong side, but other than that,
That is
very,
wild.
very close.
Wow, I can't. That is crazy.
Oh
and you
my
don't understand. Like I said, I wish we had the video camera here.
This would be, of all episodes, this would be the one to video.
He drew it first, and I was continuing to draw while he finished. And then that's nuts. I mean, that is crazy. I'm
How awesome!
Now, I don't want you to give away your secrets. But, but how is that possible?
Don't lie. You do want.
I
me to give
definitely
you.
do.
The thing
No,
is,
he
though,
told you what to draw. That's the thing.
I
He
think is
finished.
amazing is that like one of the things that Paul has said repeatedly is that there's no secret to give away. That's one of the things that I think is fascinating. Is that the very first thing he does in his show is explain exactly how he's going to do everything. He one of the things that I respect is that Paul never claims to have superhuman abilities. He never claims to be supernatural.
How many magicians in the industry do you think kind of play off that, for lack of better words, gimmick? Like they are, because you have to understand, a magic show, okay,
Right.
let's broaden the term here. Let's say if you went to the strip and saw David Copperfield or Lance Burton or something.
Sure.
I mean, there's a marketing that they need to do in order to get an audience in the seat.
Right.
Okay, and there's a certain gimmick or whatever that needs to be a part of that marketing scheme. How does one get away from that and say, look, what we're doing is actually an art form.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a putting it all together.
Look, that's the argument, is what's the difference between skill and craft, right? Or what's the difference between art and craft?
Right.
And the moment that it changes, for me, there are thousands of definitions of this, and there are a lot more intelligent people than I am that have come to this different conclusions on this. For me, the moment of distinction between craft and art is craft is what I do. Art is the second that's experienced by someone else, and they say that's art.
Well, can I tell you something right now? I believe. Oh my gosh, because that is crazy. I mean, of all the things, can I tell you what my process was? He said, think of something this season. And I thought, okay, there's this, and I said, there's this. And I just came from I work at Faith Lutheran High School. I just came from my faculty Christmas party, so I was thinking religion. I was thinking, then I thought, well, no, ho, ho, ho. And then I looked, the reason I drew snowman is because there's a snowman here. And I want to note, you drew almost exactly the same snowman as is on your cup. Look, you drew the top hat that was on the snowman on the cup. Exactly.
You drew all those pieces. And I saw that cup when you first came into the room, and it's the same cup Sean has as well. So that has been pushed into your thoughts over and over and over today.
And just so you know, Elizabeth is taking pictures of the drawings.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see the drawings as well.
That's crazy.
Like I think since we've asked, and I think we've got him here, and we can put him on the spot a little bit. Like I would love to know. There was a thing that happened with a friend of mine. And I never got to ask him how he did it. My friend Brittany, we went to Wonderground and we were watching Wonderground, and afterwards she was really impressed by what he did, but she was skeptical. So she said, you know, is it a plant? Are there tricks? And Paul was trying to assure her that they weren't. And then finally she threw the gauntlet and said, okay, well, analyze me. And this is a girl who does not look like an English teacher, a high school English teacher. You know, she dresses in a very avant-garde fashion. She's a performance poet. You know, just nothing about her screams English teacher at a high school. It took Paul 15 seconds and about 7 questions, not related to her being a teacher. 7 general questions. Yeah. You know, but it wasn't things that felt like he was trying to smell out what was going on. There were other questions. And within about 15 seconds and 7 questions, he was not only able to tell her that she was a teacher, he was able to tell her that she was a high school teacher and that she taught English. And it was
crazy.
That's
amazing.
wild.
So I'd love to know what was the process behind that.
The process behind that is to look at the individual and see how they react to things and know that there's a limited number of things that can be true. It's also accepting that I may be wrong about certain things. For example, if I look at you, right? If I look at you, there are things that I've observed. Right now, your left hand's under the table, but I saw a ring on it earlier.
Yes.
Okay, so I now know that you're married. Okay, you are married, but do I know if you're in a straight marriage or a heterosexual marriage, right? Do I know? Most gay men don't tend to wear rings, and they don't tend to wear rings as simple and plain as that. And my vibe from you is that you're straight. So I'm going to say that you're married. You have a book in front of you here with an owl on it.
Yes.
Okay, an owl, and it's a leather-bound sort of notebook. An owl is a symbol of knowledge and a symbol of wisdom, right? It's also a symbol of a companion animal. So I would say if I had to choose between you being a cat person or a dog person, you're a dog person because dogs are companion animals as opposed to cats we go off on our own and then we come back. Also, cats are the enemy of the owl because they kill birds. So you wouldn't be both a cat person and an owl person. Those are incongruent to each other.
That's true.
Okay, so I would say you're a dog person. I would say that you like dogs that are companions, dogs that play with you, that interact with you, that are near you, that are by your side. What kind of a dog do you own?
I have a pug.
Right.
I have a Chihuahua.
You like very human dogs.
I like very
human dogs.
Very
I also know that you don't have big, strong dogs or little cats because you don't have any scratches or anything on your arms. And big dogs that you roughhouse with scratch you on the arms, where little dogs don't. Little dogs cuddle you, right? And they play. Okay, you put in your hair gel to come to do a radio show. You have on a clean undershirt and a very clean, nice shirt, so you're fastidiously clean here. So if you wouldn't have already told me that you're OCD and ADHD, I would have pegged that out of you, okay? I would have initially said that you're a member of a Christian faith because you've talked about Christmas and you haven't talked about Hanukkah or holidays. Also, I know that you're not LDS or Mormon because you're drinking a cup of coffee. There are Mormons that do drink coffee, but they don't tend to talk about it. But you did point out that you're Lutheran, otherwise I wouldn't have to go there. But see, I'm highly aware of these things all the time. What style of music do you like? Not the most modern. Look at your glasses, right? You make choices of your glasses of a certain time period. That tells me that you make those similar choices like your bomber jacket, your 50s glasses, the gelled hair rather than the hairsprayed hair. I now can source out the time period that you associate yourself with, okay? And we can go into great direction on that. So let's say from your ring, for example, that is not a very expensive ring.
That's correct.
So that says that you were married when you were younger. Is that right?
That's very, very true.
So you were probably married very young because that's a choice that you made just sort of spur of the moment, which would lead me to say you're married to a high school sweetheart.
College sweetheart.
College sweetheart. I was close.
Yes.
So, but you answered young too soon for me. Darn it. So I went even younger.
Sorry.
But you're married to a college sweetheart.
Yes.
So see, there's a journey that you can go on with somebody just by observing them and knowing things about them. Could I have been wrong on those? Yes, but I wasn't.
Wow, you are extraordinarily accurate. I mean, seriously, extraordinarily accurate on all parts. I mean, just in I can't. It's going to be hard for me to explain, but just sitting in the studio, he's not at all. How do I put this? Intimidating. You know what I mean? Like Paul has very kind eyes.
Yeah, he's warm.
Very warm, very welcoming. There's not at all. I'm not like sitting in a chair with a light on me and the detective is wandering around and he's like scoping these things out. It's a very relaxed kind of observation that he's making. I feel very conversational about all of this. So it's not at all like pushed upon.
It's important when you're dropped in a tribe or society that's not your own that you are the professional stranger. and to accept I'm an outsider. And everything that this tribe does is right, and everything that I do is wrong. And I'm like a child, new, fresh, and alive, born into this culture. Teach me how to properly eat. Teach me how to properly dress. Teach me how to properly wipe, right? Because everyone has a different way. If I'm in Iran and they want to wipe with their hand, left hand, and then wash it off with water, I don't say, ooh, I say, yes, that's correct. If I'm with the Yanomami in South America and they want to cremate their dead, mix them into a banana ash and drink them, I don't say, ooh, I say, yes. You are burying them within yourself so they're with you forever. Wherever I travel, I look at the other individual and I do not force myself upon them. That's why missionaries get eaten and anthropologists don't.
You know, and it's so funny that you guys nailed that, because it's so true. One of the things that I definitely worked on with him, you know, when we first met, is that he, and I know that a lot of this came from the fact that he had particular idols that he grew up looking at as mentalists.
Sure.
And the typical way that a mentalist does this is they come out and they're very stern. This is, you know, when a magician imagines a mentalist, they see this very stern academic professor-like character. And Paul was approaching it in that way, and it just was not settling in his body right. And one of the things that I told him is that Paul is the uncle that we all love. That's when he gets on stage, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And Paul has this amazing chuckle that he has. And all I had to do was say, let yourself chuckle.
Yeah.
And the show took a complete turn. And it was this other beautiful thing. It's just very Mark Twain. I really love what he does. And I think that that's very, very observant, that, you know, that you never feel, it never feels like invasive. It's always fun and exciting to have him do that for you.
Oh, yeah. And it's very, can I tell you, I'm entertained, but I'm also, like, my mind's blown a little bit. It makes me want to be more observant.
If you want to see this live on stage here in town, the next time I'm doing a public show in town is going to be January 5th at the Winchester. January 5th at the Winchester Cultural Center.
Where's that?
It's in the town of Winchester, near the city of Paradise. They're both in the city of Las Vegas.
Named Winchester
We
in Las
do,
Vegas?
and a town called Paradise in Las Vegas.
I have grown up here.
It's
How
just
I don't know that?
right. It's right near the Las Vegas Hilton.
My first day.
The Las Vegas Hilton,
Wow.
and it's called Winchester Cultural Center. January 5th. It's going to be a night of deception, is what it's called. But the show's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Tickets are only $8.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and you're definitely going to want to check that out. And I'm sure there's information. I'm going to actually Google this while we're talking here, so I can see if there's any place that you can go to a website and website-oriented people on this show. Both our listeners are very, website.
Both our listeners.
Right now, our listeners. Actually, I got a text message, and right now our two listeners are Timothy Burris and Edon.
Tim and Edon.
Tim and Edon are listening right now.
Hi, Tim.
Shout out to Meadows and our friends Tim and Edon.
Yeah, absolutely. Timothy Burris does not take vitamins. If he wants iron, he eats iron.
Yes. Tim Burris is the Chuck Norris of Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
And I'm 100% on board with that.
Awesome.
And that's why I shake his hand very, very nicely every time I meet him.
I'm still completely excited to pick Paul's brain, but I was thinking that it might be fun in the second hour to talk about, the fact that one of the things we talk about all the time is theater, and we haven't really talked about magic or these other art forms as a theatrical entity, and we've got a great person to conversation.
And might I bridge that and just say I think the biggest challenge to an actor in any piece, be it musical theater or otherwise, is to tell a good story. That's kind of the goal, and should be the goal of every performer. And so, can I ask, and maybe I don't know, I'm just going to jump right into it.
Let's do it.
Can I ask, as a mentalist, how can you achieve that? I mean, if you're talking about performance, how do you tell a story by analyzing someone's person?
Right, absolutely. I just was asked for a show I'm doing next month in New Orleans. They want to know if it was a good show for children, right, to come to. And the answer is that if the child can understand, gee, if I was able to read my teacher's thoughts and know what questions were on the test, that would be amazing. If I was able to know when my parents say you will only have 10 minutes left to play, they really mean 30 minutes. Wouldn't that help me? If the child is able to understand those concepts, they'll like the show. So the key for me is to create a show within which people are having fantasies fulfilled. People don't just say, wow, look at the amazing things he can do. They say, gee, if I had those abilities, I'd be able to get any job. I'd be able to sell any object. I'd be able to remember everyone's name.
So you're giving them the opportunity to write their own story.
To write their own story, just like Vegas does. When someone comes to Vegas, if they want to ride a gondola boat, if they want to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, if they want to go see naked people, right, whatever it is they want to do, they can write their own story and be the hero of their own Campbellian hero's journey, right?
Nice.
When I talked to Stephen Sondheim about writing a good story, to tie it back into theater element, he's a big fan of magic, and as a boy he wanted to be a magician. And he said, simply, you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell it to them, and you tell them what you told them. You say you're going to go meet a girl named Maria. You then go meet Maria. You then sing, I just met a girl named Maria. Right? And that's what every English teacher tells us when we start out, but we forget that. I follow the Campbellian hero journey very closely. I think as a one-person show, it's really a great structure to mold yourself to find some place within it, from Joseph Campbell's A Hero with 1,000 Faces, and say, like Harry Potter, like Star Wars, like The Matrix, that I had some magical birth, that I'm going on this journey through the threshold, that I'm going to fight a dragon. You know, what is, and where are we within this land of fairy?
Nice. And you know something, to be able, I can imagine that, gosh, I can imagine just on a personal level, take yourself off the stage for a second. It's probably extraordinarily hard to control yourself to want to help others as you witness things happening around you, you know?
So you find someone in the audience who you think is going to commit suicide. You don't bring that up in the show. You say to them, you have an extraordinary mind. I would love to talk to you after the show. If you'll meet me after the show, I have a special gift for you.
Wow. And you can read that on someone?
Sometimes.
You can wow. What is, can I ask you, what is the easiest, I guess this is going to sound silly, but what is the easiest thing to read on someone? Like you can tell the second they walk in the room something about them. What is something that's
different people are different things.
Yeah.
I mean, engineers have a certain tell about them. You can tell by how an engineer observes magic tricks if they're an engineer and what kind of engineer they are.
Wow, really?
And so I can parse out.
They're tactile? Or?
Right. I can parse out electrical versus chemical versus imaginary, or you know, and so on.
And you could tell by the fact that I drew a snowman that I'm a people-oriented person.
Well, all of your images are people-oriented, aren't they? I mean, every single one of them.
Yeah.
You know, every one of them had a face or was a home.
Yeah.
You know, where I think that if I was to have Aaron draw something, why do I keep calling you that? Because your darn Facebook page, Elizabeth.
Facebook.
Elizabeth.
You gotta take Aaron off. That's
no, but it's so beautiful. Why would I ever do that?
Elizabeth
That's my
Matthews.
name.
Right, Elizabeth Matthews. but like Elizabeth here, if I was to ask her to draw something from childhood, she would probably draw something more ornate. She'd draw a flower. She'd draw a heart, she'd draw sun, she'd draw something lovely, because her goal in life is to add loveliness where she goes. That's what you two said about her when you stated it.
Yeah.
You are very eye contact, vocal interaction, people dominant. When you talk to me, you look me straight in the eyes. You're not disparate looking around the room. You are very driven by the human, by the person. And the same is true in all your images. You drew a snowman with a face. Not just with a cone.
Circle head.
You drew the face of Santa Claus. You drew a home, and you had life in the home. You had things smoke coming out of the chimney. So living people within said home. So I would say that in your day-to-day life, you are far more driven by people than by things.
It is so true. I'm the most unsentimental man you will ever meet. It is so true. That's just wild to me, and I'm sitting here going, I want to learn to do what you do.
You can only learn by doing it.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So now, how did you get into doing it? When did you first think to yourself, you know what, I need to explore this at a very big level. I need to delve into this and dive into this. Was it
I'm not
trial by
letting the
error?
other two talk much here.
No,
you know something?
we're
I'm so sorry. I have a tendency to get and this fascinates me. You have to understand that Sean, when I first met him, this is another man who is extraordinarily multifaceted. And he is a musician, he is a writer, he is a director, he does all these things, but he's also a magician. And so he showed me a trick or something, and I was just like, again, another one. You know, it's just that childlike curiosity in me, just I can't control it. I'm fascinated by it. That's why I love theater and entertainment so much in storytelling, because there's a new story to be told every turn of the corner, and it's very important to me. So I apologize. I'll let you ask them.
No. But yeah, you know, the thing is though, is that like we'll get into a a more grouped discussion, I'm sure, eventually. But I mean, like, yeah, you know, I brought a very interesting friend on the show, you know.
You did, and he can't leave now.
Ever. You can have my cot.
I used to know when I used to stage manage, one of the things that I was very good about was always knowing when one of my cast members were sick.
Oh,
and even if they were hiding it. And that was sort of how Sean and I started being friends.
He hid a lot from you, that's all there's to it. Well, do you have any things that you would like to ask? Because I cut you off like 3 times.
Oh, did you? I don't even remember.
I realized that I was like...
used to that.
Oh, wow.
I love that Elizabeth came to the Magic Castle and saw some of the magicians there. It's the world home of magic. So what did you like about magic and magicians? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? What gave you and your friends, because you also had friends there, everyone from medical doctors to actors and singers, what touched your core?
For me, I think the best part about going to the Magic Castle, beyond the fact that it's just an escape from reality, you know, they have it set up that every turn is something new and exciting and magical, and it's not everyday life in there. And the magicians were all just like, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Hello.
There you go.
I just loved the escaping reality, going into another a realm of something that, you know, magic isn't everywhere, or is it? Dun, dun, dun.
Right. Dun, dun, dun.
If you're just now joining us, we're speaking with magician, mentalist, actor, and very just fascinating human being, Paul Draper. Paul Draper is here. We're with Sean Critchfield and Elizabeth Matthews, and soon we're going to be joined by another guest, and we're going to make this a house party here. But we want you to check out Paul's website, paulwdraper.com. And also, he has there is another website that you can understand more about what he's talking about with being a mentalist, and what does that entail, at www.mentalmysteries.com. He also has some YouTube videos that you can check out. But okay, so now can you maybe show us another example?
Sure, absolutely.
Do it on me.
This is going to be hard. Wow, so many places to go with that. Isn't
This is a family show.
What I want you to do, if you would, I'm going to do this, which you've seen me do before, but you haven't before. I have 2 metal spoons here. I want you to check those out. Make sure they're metal, they're solid, they're spoons. They don't bend on their own. They don't heat up in your hands.
Yeah, these are metal. These are metal.
And you found these in the kitchen here.
Right, found in the kitchen
these
here.
were out of the kitchen of KSHP.
Right, you can see that they nest together as if they were...
They were one and the same.
Spoons.
Yeah.
As if they were spooning. I'm glad I didn't bring forks. Right? As if they're spooning. Good. That's funny. So 2 metal spoons as if they were spooning. Now, one of these 2 is going to bend in your hands. Which one? Pick me. No, whichever one you want. Yes, sir.
Fine.
Okay, look. Hold it at the tips of your fingers.
Do you want me to record this?
Sure.
The tips of your fingers right there. Shake it back and forth. Shake it back and forth. Imagine it's bending. Ever so
Shake
slight.
it like a Polaroid picture.
Yeah, keep going. Good. So the tips of the fingers. And stop. Okay. I don't know if you can tell. Hard to tell just with that little bit. There's now a slight difference between those. Do you see that? Do you see that? Just slight difference. No, you can't just say whoa. You got to describe what you see. You have to place one hand over mine.
Okay.
Okay. Am I putting enough pressure on that to bend that spoon?
Not at all. You're just...
Not at all. Okay, look. We're going to raise now. Just a little bit more. Hard to tell.
What?
We'll put it together. Do you see that?
Oh my gosh, it's like quite a big bend.
Right, do you see that?
45 degrees.
Right, almost 45 degrees, right?
45 degrees.
Here, look, we'll just keep going. Just like that. Just rub it there. Good. Keep going.
Oh my gosh.
It's
now.
bent practically
90 degrees.
Yeah. Here, look, I'm going to point it straight towards the camera. Ready? Describe what you see happening.
The spoon is bending. It's like, it looks like it's melting.
It's melting.
It's like
not
melting.
Even touching it right there. Now here, place one finger right there in the crux of it. Right there in the crux of it.
Okay.
Rub back and forth. Gentle. It's going to keep rolling up towards you. See that?
What?
Oh my gosh.
Stop. Just little teeny bits. A lot of people think that I take and put enormous pressure on it, right, when no one's looking. But I'm not even touching it. Watch again, not even touching it. And it just rolls down towards you, just like that.
That is wild.
Yeah, here.
It's almost like...
Now pull on that. Pull on it. It's a solid piece of metal, right?
It's like it's melting.
Right? I could pull you out of your chair. It's a solid piece of metal, right? Now, with enough pressure, you can take here. With enough pressure, you can take it, straighten that out, right? But it digs into my hand to do that. But only in a TV show like The Matrix is this possible. Here, watch right here.
The spoon is spinning.
It's spinning in his hand.
The top of the spoon is spinning around right now. I know that sounds unbelievable, and I wish you could see it, but that's what's happening.
It's spinning, and he's holding the base of the spoon.
I don't know if you can see the neck there.
Oh my gosh.
There's a corkscrew twist in the neck of the spoon.
Okay.
So I thought for sure I had figured out how...
And Erik,
you just missed my mind being blown.
And yeah, this has actually been.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, sure. The strongest man on earth can untwist that. That will never be straight again.
And
that's changed to the crystalline level there.
Look at that.
That's amazing.
That is.
But you can still stir your coffee or drink cereal with it. That's now yours. Keep that.
And you owe the station a...
I know. Now I need to go buy some silverware. Oh my gosh, that is wild.
Now I would thought for
It
sure.
says here stainless steel.
I thought for sure when you did it at the castle that you had them up your sleeves and you were just trading them out.
No. No sleeves.
Literally nothing up the sleeves.
No sleeves today.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Now, oh my gosh, I just want to go, how did you do it? Tell me. You know, but I kind of don't, because I respect the fact that there is something behind this, but gosh, you are very convincing.
One of my favorite things to do is to find psychics, to find religious leaders, to spend time with spiritualists and with shamans and see what it is they do, and then figure out how I can change myself to be able to do what it is that they do.
Because I'm going to be absolutely honest here, okay? This is I have no vested interest in promoting this, very thing. This is a legit corkscrew bend in this spoon. Like if I took two
a vice and pliers, you couldn't straighten it out.
I couldn't put a bend in this. I couldn't put a bend in this like this. Because look at it. It's like a smooth bend.
It's actually melted. It's changed to the crystalline level.
That is wild.
I hate to just move the momentum straight into something else.
No, I'm pleased because I'm flabbergasted.
But I just wanted to say, and I don't know if we need a break or anything like that.
It was within the next 5-10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, cool. Just because there's something else that I think is really important that I want to talk about that Paul does before we hit that break.
Sure.
And also, just in case there's someone listening that could utilize this, is that the thing that I love as well is that he uses his powers for good.
And not evil.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, honestly, imagine if the man decided to use them for evil.
Yeah.
But, he uses his powers for good, and one of the things that he uses this ability for is helping hospitals. He goes in and he teaches hospitals, ways that they can better, things as simple as painting the ceiling of the hospital, changing patient care, talking to doctors about how they can use his abilities to understand if someone is hurting, how to cultivate greater empathy. And it's an amazing program, and it's something that he does in Fortune 500, or at the top hospitals
in the nation.
Yeah.
How much of this is emotional? Driven?
So that's something they can find on the Paul W. Draper site. It's called Helping Hospitals Heal. And I go into hospitals, I'm working with USC Children's Hospital in California. They asked me, how do we make it so children feel less pain and fear when they're receiving blood draws?
Right.
And so I'm creating programs to try and mitigate their pain and fear through using different skills of magicians and mentalists.
That is wild.
I'm working with hospitals in Florida right now, both Orlando Health Systems and Martin Memorial Health Systems, to try and create systems of greater care, not only for the patients, but for the people providing care, so they have better tools to work with each other and communicate with each other. So yes, the show is only a small part of it, but my real love deep down is musical theater.
Oh, that's bloody fantastic. We something. I should mention that Kirsten, and I'm going to butcher your last name. Help me out, Kirsten.
Kuroishi.
Kirsten Kuroishi has joined us. A dear friend of ours, and even a dear friend of Sean Critchfield. Especially.
They know each other.
They do. And you know Kirsten, but you don't know Kirsten, because she is the face of the probably most prevalent insurance commercial on the air in Las Vegas here.
What?
And she's a spokesperson.
Oh, I don't have TV.
She's like the spokesperson.
What? What?
Of Auto Insurance America.
She's also,
my,
you know,
I'm the
we can definitely
flow.
chat with her because she's
Yeah.
also a big part of Rainbow Company Youth Theater.
Oh, yes.
I just came from
An
there.
instructor and a director and a counselor over there. And I'm thrilled that you're here. I've been wanting to have you on the show as well.
I'm so excited to be here
But
finally.
now, have you ever met Paul before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now what the heck is up with this?
I have one. I have one. I keep one.
Because this is stupid. Because
I have a
too.
promo shot with the two of us together doing that the first time I met her.
Because if you even, let's say I gave him time to just go and wrench this around, you couldn't do it.
Try it. He has another spoon. Seriously, hand him the other spoon and let him try to do that.
Okay, I'm going to do this.
Because trust me, I've played around with it, and I successfully did it with a pair of pliers and a vise. That's what it took for me to get that corkscrew
Okay,
in there.
now
You know,
here's-
and the other thing too, Eric, that's amazing is like, he's also helpful as a director and a stage manager as well in a theatrical sense, because he has just a thumb on the pulse of the room. Like when I was first starting in town with performance poetry, I was really nervous about who I could pull off performing for. You know, it's a very aggressive, very hip-hop based, very in-your-face style. And I had this demographic stuck in my head that's all I could perform for. And he was doing a birthday performance for like this cabaret for one of the biggest magicians in Las Vegas. And this room was full of ancient, like magicians that are Skeletor from the knuckles up. You know what I mean? Just like
nice.
Ancient magicians. And they're in this room, and there's like maybe 4 or 5 younger magicians there that were there to pay, you know, pay homage to this guy. And Paul comes up to me and he's like, "I'm dying up there. I need youth and energy." And I said, "It won't go over in this room." And he looked at me, and the look was, "You're telling me what will or will not go over in this room?" And I thought to myself, okay, you're right. And I got up, and that was actually a turning point for me in my career as a performance poet, because after that, I realized that my demographic was much wider than I thought it was. And that's because Paul had his thumb on the pulse of the room.
That's wild.
I also brought Sean in one time. I was doing a show for 700 or 800 theater students in the state of Utah, and I brought him in to do the middle piece. And he was concerned because all these were, you know, kids under 18 years old. Are they going to like this style of performance poetry? And he got a standing ovation out of that room.
Yay! It's always important when you get a standing ovation from students that we recognize that.
Yeah, but what's amazing is, furthermore, afterwards, you know, like Paul and I, we've been good friends for years, and one of my favorite things to do is, like, you know, I've gone to gigs with him in LA, and you know, we rib each other a little bit when we're in the car, and it's part of the nature of our relationship. Like, everyone else gets to see this very, like, astute academic persona, but let me tell you something. There is a guy who's, you know, will definitely poke some fun, and we play, and it's this great relationship that Paul and I have. So one of the things that I said to Paul was, yeah, I got a standing ovation. You know, you brought me up on stage to do your juggler spot, and I got a standing O, Paul. And Paul looked me right in the eyes, and he said, "Yes, you did, in my show."
You wouldn't have unless I invited you up. That's
He got it. He did get a standing ovation, but he got the standing ovation in the Paul Draper show.
That's right. You always have to say, "I got a standing O on Johnny Carson."
Right.
You know, you
Right.
You have to.
Right.
You have to put it in perspective there. Well, if you're just now tuning in, we do need to take a break. We're here with guest Paul Draper, and we're talking about crazy spoon-bending things. It's just fascinating.
Spoon-bending and mind-blowing.
Yeah, kind of getting inside the mind of a mentalist, if you will. And
There is no spoon.
Twisted Thoughts.
Twisted Thoughts with Paul Draper. We're going to take a break here. In the meantime, visit his website, paulwdraper.com. You can also hit up Facebook and go to Curtain Call with Erik Ball in the search bar, and then like our Facebook page so you can stay in touch with us and what we're going to be doing in the future. You can also call the station if you want to speak with any one of us, except Liz. We don't want you to talk to Elizabeth Matthews.
No, you'll never get off the phone.
She's still grounded. But 221-SAVE is the number, 221-7283. And we'll be right back with Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
You're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball. This is David Loud saying hello from Broadway.
Check out Town Square's new hot spot. That's Ranch House Kitchen. They open every day at 8 a.m. and breakfast is served all day long till closing. Formerly known as Cadillac Ranch, the new Ranch House Kitchen has brought entirely whole new energy to the upper level of Town Square's restaurant row. located directly across from the Rave movie theater. Everyone's welcome at Ranch House Kitchen because they cater to all size parties, families, and business gatherings. 3 full bars with your favorite alcoholic beverages, and if you bring the kids 12 and under, Monday through Friday, they eat free. Everybody's invited to ride the mechanical bull. For fantastic food, drinks, and a great atmosphere, head down to Ranch House Kitchen, 6593 Las Vegas Boulevard South in Town Square. For reservations, call 702-749-6400.
A toast to all you caniacs, ever faithful aficionados of fresh, never frozen premium chicken fingers from Raising Cane's. You are keen connoisseurs of Cane's crispy, extra-long crinkle-cut fries, dedicated to the made-fresh daily cane sauce that twirls tongues in a tastefully tangy tango. Caniacs, we toast you all from Raising Cane's.
5 Las Vegas locations. Go to ilovecanes.com.
With the home foreclosure crisis upon us, vacant properties and deserted houses are changing the landscape of our neighborhoods. These deserted houses attract vandals, thieves, and con artists. In times like these, keeping your neighborhood safe is more important than ever. When foreclosures rise, so can crime. Uncut lawns, trash, and empty driveways are open invitations for crime. Empty homes make perfect locations for drug dealers. Squatters find vacant houses, move in, and take over. Teenagers use abandoned homes for parties and to vandalize. To combat these new threats, urge your community association to work with local police to patrol vacant homes. Contact your city, county, or housing authority to cut overgrown lawns and pick up trash. Report broken windows and doors to the police and educate your child that it is not okay to go into an abandoned house. To learn more about protecting your neighborhood, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Are you sick and tired of your garage door going up but never coming down, or going down and coming back up on its own? The kids knocking the motion sensors around? Oh, it's a nightmare. Custom Hearth & Door is here to help. They are your one-stop shop for garage doors, garage door openers, and repairs. Great service deals all the time. Also, you can't beat Custom Hearth & Door and not do fireplaces, as they provide high-quality wood-burning and gas-fired fireplaces, fireplace inserts and stoves, chimney systems, and accessories. Custom Hearth features the best brand names in the business, including the LiftMaster garage door openers with their new keyless entry with fingerprint verification, plus products from Real Fire, Craftsman, Fire Magic, and Lennox. Call Custom Hearth & Door at 657-1280. That's 657-1280. Or visit them online at custom-hearth.com. That's custom-hearth.com.
This is Matthew Scott, and you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Ah, Matthew Scott, such a good, dear, close, personal friend of mine. Not. He's just a very gracious man on Broadway who agreed to do a stinger for me. God love him. Welcome to Curtain Call. This is Erik Ball. We're sitting in the studio with several, well, actually, Liz just got up and left. I don't know if she's out getting us takeout or what, but I have Liz Matthews in the studio with Sean Critchfield, Kirsten Kurishi. Gosh, Kurishi.
I let people off the hook, and I just say, you can call me Kirsten.
Kirsten it is.
If you can make it through the first one, you're already
it's like Pee-wee's Playhouse, Miss
people.
Yvonne. I'll call you Miss Kirsten. And then Paul Draper, our guest. He's a mentalist, a magician, an actor. His business card is very big, full of all the things he does. And he's here today, and we're talking about what does it mean to be a mentalist as I hold my bent spoon aloft. And I want to do, before we get back into things here, I wanted to talk about a few things coming up that you need to take note of. First off is a little selfish promotion here. Faith Lutheran High School is looking forward to their upcoming production, the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. It's a terrific musical. If you are not familiar with it, I highly recommend that you familiarize yourself with it right away. It's one of those musical gems that everybody needs to hop on the bandwagon and see. It's happening at Faith Lutheran January 11th through the 20th. It's 2 weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you need tickets or if you just want more information, go to www.faithlutheran.org. faiththeatercompany.com. Again, www.faiththeatercompany.com. And we hope to see you out there for the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Sean, you have a few things for Ragtag?
Yeah. Ragtag has a handful of things coming up as well. There's going to be Guys and Dolls, which is going to be March 29th. March 29th, and it's going to be with a big orchestra and brass section, which should be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It's going to be at the LVH. And also in March, there's going to be Pippin. There's lots of really fun stuff to do, and coming up for them. And you can go to Ragtag Ent for that, and you can also some other stuff that we're working on that's going to be kind of in the future. And please contact us if you're at all interested in being involved in this. But we're looking at doing some outreach theater for the vets for.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is going to be fun. So we've got some ideas up our sleeves, and we're also going to do some stuff for theater for the blind. It's actually another idea that we've got coming up. So we've got some interesting stuff in the future, and I'm just going to throw out there that there is a very distinct possibility of me returning to the director's chair soon and we would be flying over something.
Wait a minute! You can't just say that. It sucks.
We're gonna well put it together. We're gonna fly over.
Put it together, Sondheim.
Yeah, Sean's gonna direct some Sondheim.
Yeah, I'm gonna direct some Sondheim again. No. We're still in discussions about Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh.
So just but that's it's on a back burner.
I get it now.
Yes, one flew over. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
the observant one got
it. Toy is going.
One flew over the.
Okay. So, but yeah, and
very
it's
cool.
on the back burner, but it's moved.
But it's on a burner.
It's quickly moving to the foreburner, and so we'll definitely keep you posted on that. But
a burner's a burner, my friend.
Yeah,
that's what I got to see. That's why there's 4 of them. But no, that's fantastic. And Ragtag Entertainment has a lot of stuff that you can check out on Facebook and on the internet. Also, some exciting news. Signature Productions has announced that they are holding auditions for their upcoming spring musical, Camelot. And
run, boy!
Right?
Run, boy! Run!
And for information regarding that, or if you would like to schedule an audition appointment, you can email signatureproductions2013@gmail.com. In upcoming weeks, hopefully this upcoming week, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, signatureproductions.net will have updated information. Right now, we're still in the process of making things better in that particular.
One of the most magical moments I ever saw in a play was in Camelot. It was at the Equity Theater, Pioneer Memorial Theater up in Salt Lake City, Utah. And when the man dies in the competition, and then Lancelot runs over and tries to bring him back to life and puts his hands on him, and it doesn't work. He tries again, and it doesn't work. And he tries again, and he almost gives up. And he pushes one more time, and the breath comes into the guy, and he comes back to life. And that was a very magical moment to me as a boy.
That's cool. CPR.
Yeah.
No, but it's very magical. It's CPR. You know, the medical field in general is very magical.
It's very magical.
But you need to check them out. I know Signature Productions has been kind of off the map for the past year and a half with the debacle with the Summerlin Library Theater and everything. And they're very interested in springboarding back into play. And they are presenting Camelot at the Summerlin Library and Performing Arts Center. The auditions for this, and like I said, the best bet is to just email signatureproductions2013@gmail for information. There's information on Facebook as well. You can get that. But they're having auditions in Henderson at the Art Institution of Las Vegas. So that's very exciting news. And you just came from, Kirsten just came from Rainbow Company Theater, and they just closed Honk the Musical.
That's right.
Which is about Groucho Marx.
Exactly.
The life story of Groucho Marx. Wouldn't that be funny if that was the name of the musical of Groucho Marx? Honk? Nobody? Okay, good. You guys are like,
no, I gotcha. Yeah.
It's not that funny. Yeah. No, but
that's the wrong Marx brother. It was Harpo.
Oh, Harpo! Oh, I totally
Harpo
ruined
Marx.
the joke.
You ruined the joke.
Oh. All right, we'll just give it to Kira. I don't deserve to talk. But what's going on with Rainbow right now? Because that's another theater company that I have high respect for, because your mission, and correct me if I'm wrong, your mission has to do directly with the education of children, and that's a place that's close to my heart because I'm a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's going on with them?
We just, as you mentioned, we just wrapped Honk. I came directly from Strike, and then so we have 2 more shows this season. But after the break, we get a little break now, which was great because
everybody has to refuel.
Yeah,
you know?
everybody needs a little downtime.
Get some candy canes.
But basically, the way the program works, it's an extraordinary program, and I can say that because I came up through it, so I'm a little bit biased.
Yeah.
But I started classes when I was 4 with them, and then I entered into their student ensemble at around 11, and then I graduated out at 18. And so the student ensemble, it's right now we have close to 50 students in the ensemble, and they're aged in between 10 and 18. And they all work together.
So you can be a part of it even if you're in high school. It's not like elementary school age. It's all the way through high school.
And that's just the student ensemble. So we offer classes that aren't ensemble based. Our program is ensemble based, but we also offer classes for ages 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and then a teen class. And then on top of that we have the student ensemble. So
And adult actors can audition for the shows. My very first time that I was ever cast as a lead ever was as the Cowardly Lion in the Wizard of Oz in the production.
I was the Cowardly Lion too.
Oh, were you?
Put it up, homie.
Paw power.
Paw power up. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
So, but we just had a moment. I'm sorry. We're back.
That's awesome.
From a little moment, but and it was Rainbow Company, Karen McKinney, that cast me in that role.
That's awesome.
You know, and so.
And Karen's great. I've known amazing. Karen for years now.
That
and
woman
she's
is a force of nature.
She's
an element of her own.
Yes.
Her and Tim Burris are element. But can I ask now, if you wanted to get involved in this, is this something that you have to enroll in, or is it something that you can just show up to? Because there's lots of let me give you an example. A lot of dance companies in town now have branches of theater classes you can take, productions that you can be a part of, but they're very forthcoming in the understanding that you must be enrolled in a dance class, or you must pay an enrollment fee, or something like that. How is Rainbow Company involved in that way? Is it similarly, or is it?
Well, it depends on the part of the program. Like the other classes, like 4 to 6, 7, 9. The whole program is City of Las Vegas funded. So those classes, if you go to artslasvegas.org, you can see the class lists and who's teaching and what the class descriptions. And you can enroll online or by calling any of the art centers in town, and all of that information is on the website. And there's a registration fee for those through the city. The student ensemble is an audition-based program, so we audition them once a year.
Cool.
And then,
so it's like a theater company. It's like a repertoire company.
Yeah, and the way the ensemble works, it's great because the kids, everybody auditions for the shows, and the shows are open audition to anybody in town, even people auditioning for experience only, which is one of my favorite elements because that's an educational element that we offer. So there's that, and they audition for every show, and if and when they're not cast in the show, then they are placed on a technical crew. So the students of the ensemble not only get a performance education, they're also learning set, prop, sound, light, costumes. They learned every usher, every technical aspect as well. So it's a comprehensive theatrical education.
And we've talked about this on the show too. I truly believe that you cannot fully kind of embrace a full appreciation of the performing arts that is theater unless you have taken part of in a great level of the technical element. You need to be a part of it on stage and love what you do on stage, but you also have to have an appreciation for it off stage. So high school kids, take note. Let's say the cast list goes up and your name isn't on it. Yes, bury your head for a day. I give you permission. But then brush yourself off and go and use this as an opportunity to maybe take part of the show that you desperately wanted to be a part of on a technical level. That way you can still move forward with your personal journey as becoming an on-stage performer. You can still work towards that next audition because there will be another audition. But for the time being, do that. Okay, because I'll tell you right now, I have a whole troop of kids at Faith Lutheran that take great pride in tech theater. And let me tell you, it's not a cast-off. It's not like a consolation prize. You know, it is a art form all in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a complete. It's the other half of the art.
It really is.
And we work really hard to make sure that, you know, we tell all our kids going in that if you're, you know, you want to be a star and you want to be the star of every show, we're not the program for you, because we treat every element, whether it's on stage or backstage, equally.
That's awesome.
And we, you know,
I
our kids
remember-
work. They're so dedicated and they work really hard.
I saw a T-shirt once that I loved. It said, an actor without a technician is naked on a barren stage with no lights and no sound and no script. A technician without an actor has marketable skills.
Right? Has coffee.
Yeah.
That's what we tell the kids is like, you know, the kids who are on stage, we teach them the same way we teach the technicians to be respectful to them. We teach the actors to be respectful to technicians, because without them, you're naked on a dark, empty stage.
That's very, very true.
Good luck with that.
Well, that's awesome. And here's the thing. The bottom line is, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Rainbow Company Theater. You should be too. It's a city-funded program that takes great pride in showing the ins and outs of theater from the ground up to little kids all the way up to 18-year-olds. And, you know, talk about a wonderful gateway program to get you involved in theater if you've never been involved, or if you want to heighten what you have been involved in. You can go to rainbowcompany.org for more information, or you can just contact me through Curtain Call, and I'll put you directly in touch with Kirsten, and we'll make that happen too. So,
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to take another quick break here, and then we'll be right back. We're going to talk more with Paul and more with Kirsten and more with everybody else that's in the room, and Elizabeth, because I love Elizabeth. Sean, we'll talk to you later.
Okay. Yeah. It was a pleasure talking.
No, please come back. I was just joking. I was joking.
He goes, I go.
It's a Charlie
Oh my
Brown
gosh.
Christmas.
No, I was
I'm outta
joking.
here.
I was joking.
Sean and I are going.
Oh my gosh. Stay tuned for Curtain Call. Oh my gosh. I was joking. Come back.
This is Sarah Salzberg from Spelling Bee, and you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
With the home foreclosure crisis upon us, vacant properties and deserted houses are changing the landscape of our neighborhoods. These deserted houses attract vandals, thieves, and con artists. In times like these, keeping your neighborhood safe is more important than ever. When foreclosures rise, so can crime. Uncut lawns, trash, and empty driveways are open invitations for crime. Empty homes make perfect locations for drug dealers. Squatters find vacant houses, move in, and take over. Teenagers use abandoned homes for parties and to vandalize. To combat these new threats, urge your community association to work with local police to patrol vacant homes. Contact your city, county, or housing authority to cut overgrown lawns and pick up trash. Report broken windows and doors to the police, and educate your child that it is not okay to go into an abandoned house. To learn more about protecting your neighborhood, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
How fresh is Sweet Tomatoes produce? Let's just say within 24 hours of being in the ground, it's on a refrigerated truck on its way to the restaurant. Sweet Tomatoes food is fresh from the farm to your fork and made from scratch every single day. Sweet Tomatoes salad bar includes fresh tossed signature salads and fresh cut produce, plus 8 made from scratch soups, hot pasta, muffins made from scratch. You can also create your own low-fat yogurt dessert. Something healthy and nutritious for the entire family. Treat yourself and your family to fresh, great-tasting, wholesome recipes, fresh seasonal vegetables, and tossed salads prepared every 20 minutes. There's 4 Sweet Tomato locations in the Las Vegas and Henderson area. For more information and hours, visit www.sweettomatoes.com or call 888-374-8358.
A toast to all you caniacs, ever faithful aficionados of fresh, never frozen premium chicken fingers from Raising Cane's. You are keen connoisseurs of Cane's crispy, extra-long crinkle-cut fries, dedicated to the made-fresh daily Cane sauce that twirls tongues in a tastefully tangy tango. Caniacs, we toast you all from Raising Cane's.
5 Las Vegas locations. Go to ilovecanes.com.
A word from the cast of Hot in Cleveland. Want to hear a joke?
Yeah, sure.
What's the #1 killer of women?
Well, you're still here, so that rules out crankiness.
And tracksuits.
Heart disease.
But that's a joke?
Oh, no, it's an absolute fact, but the American Heart Association says you can save lives by passing it along to 5 women you love.
Aww.
So I'm starting with 3 I tolerate. That's a joke.
Find out more at goredforwomen.org.
Hi, this is Heidi Blickenstaff from Title of Show. You're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Playbills and monkeys and monkeys and playbills and monkeys and playbills and monkeys and playbills. We have a couple monkeys in the studio this week. Thanks for tuning in to Curtain Call. This is Erik Ball. I have Paul Draper, magician, mentalist, and actor extraordinaire. We have Sean Critchfield and Liz Matthews kind of playing as guest co-host this week.
Yeah, I'm Glenn Heath this week.
You are, and I have Miss Kirsten, and I won't even remotely attempt to say your last name.
Howdy.
She's here, and she just came from the Rainbow Company Youth Theater.
Does that mean I get to be Carrie Ann?
You can, if you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need a teapot.
You need. You're a little teapot. No, but
you're so skinny.
He took the microphone away just for that. Well, listen, I wanted to maybe shift the conversation over to theater in general. After all, that's what we're all about, and I know that we all have our unique individual perspectives on what to do and where to go and how to do this thing called theater. And Paul was looking at his Facebook page, which, by the way, you should check out and like. Paul Draper, Draper. Check it out and like his Facebook page. But one of his many followers on Facebook posted a very interesting question about theater in general. I thought maybe we could roundtable that. So why don't you read that, Paul?
Absolutely. Michelangelo came on and said, here's a quick question. How well attended is local theater? If it is not properly successful at drawing its crowd, what can the entertainment community that loves theater do to increase its appeal?
Well, I suppose we should...
I love that question.
It's a great question because it's kind of a big picture question. You know what I mean? It's a big worldview. And my question is, do you think theater in Las Vegas is well attended?
I think certain theater in Las Vegas is well attended. I mean, like, Signature always sells out, and things the Onyx are starting to sell out, but I'm not sure, like, all the companies are as successful, and I think the problem with that is it's not necessarily a community quite yet. There's different companies competing against each other as opposed to joining together.
Do you others, like, do you guys
I could be wrong,
like it's a competitive community?
The fact that people are willing to drive...
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just going to say, I think that it's starting to get better.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to become more of a community and working together, but it could definitely continue to go in that direction.
I'm taking some pictures, by the way. Go on.
The fact that people are willing to drive all the way out to the middle of nowhere to go to the Super Summer Theater Project, that says to me that people are willing to do what it takes to see theater if they know that it's a consistent and good product.
But I think that location has something to do with that too, because going out to that location is an experience all in itself.
I agree.
Well, I think that's true, but I also think that, like, one of the big things that I'm noticing right now that I find very frustrating is there's one of the things that I've said in past shows is that if I go to any local community theater show, I personally know 80% of the audience and 80% of the cast at a minimum. And it's not because I know everyone, it's because it's the usual suspects.
So it's a loyal pool.
You know, yeah, you've got your, and a lot of times, and you know, and I'm going to say something that may get me in hot water with some people, but that's fine. But a lot of times, it's people that are attending shows because they feel an obligation to attend the show so that they can later ask those people to attend their shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
No, I completely agree with that.
And so I was like, so how do we open up, is there an audience base? And how do we open that audience base up? And then the Smith Center opened, and it's like, where have you people been? You know? Yeah. So we have an audience of people in Las Vegas that want to attend theater. So how do we get those same butts
In our seats.
In our seats, you know, and I think that those same butts are on their way up to Super Summer Theater, you know.
Those individuals know that if they're going to see a show at the Smith Center, that it's going to be a good, high-quality product. I think that's something that they know, and I think that promoting that it's a good quality product, that it's not, you know, quote-unquote community theater.
Well, here we go, back to the marketing element of
Right, the
everything.
marketing element of it.
Yeah.
I think that people in Vegas are willing to pay a lot of money for experiences, but they need to know that these experiences are going to be worth both their time and money, and that it's going to be something greater than what they can just find on Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to the whole idea of theater being an investment for the patron. Is it worth the time, like you said, to get in the car, get gussied up, and go to a theater, sit down, and take a chance? You know, because like for instance, the novelty of Las Vegas in general is the fact that you go here to escape something else.
Right.
I mean, and so I argue that the idea of theater in general is to go to escape reality. And the Onyx Theater, however well it's doing, however wonderfully associated it is with a particular performance or production or person, it's always going to be that theater by the fetish shop. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like there's
people not only have to make a decision about whether or not they want to see theater, they have to make a decision about whether or not they want to walk through that shop.
So it's interesting.
And I think it would be unfair to accuse those people of being wrong for that. That's a personal choice that someone has to make. Like me, I'm fine with it. I've directed shows in there. Elizabeth was in one of the shows.
Yeah,
it was me that I directed there.
And they sell a variety of candles that are lovely.
I brought my mother down to the Onyx Theater to see me when I was in a production of Hamlet that was there, right?
Oh, that was before they
made it nice.
Yeah.
That's when you still had to walk through the core of the dildos and such. And the truth
that right out there.
and the
That
truth
happened.
is it comes out. You know, everything comes out at the Onyx. And the truth is after Polonius, who I was playing, died, my mother then said, "Okay, we're done here." Walked out, got a cab, and went back to the hotel. And I think that, you know, I'm proud of her that she was able to stand up and come that far through it. But I don't think there would have been any amount of money to make her go there had I not been her son.
Well, and you know, if you talk to the people that work in generating the season for the Onyx, these are people that are very passionate about what they do. You know what I mean? I would argue the same with Signature Productions or any other Las Vegas Little Theater, any production that has, or company rather, that has stood the test of time. You know, these are people that are really passionate about what they do. I mean, regardless whether you love what they do or not, they're people that really believe in it and put time and effort into it and really stand by it. So it's kind of like, you know, they always say that the best thing to do if you're going to open a business is location, location, location.
Right.
You got to understand that Signature was very hesitant to pick up and move to a different theater because they garnish a beautiful Sun City crowd.
Well, they have their
Summerlin
local
Library.
followers that are
Right.
down in Summerlin,
and people go to the ranch and see the shows regardless of what the show is because it's the only chance to see a show outside under the stars with your family on a blanket eating picnic stuff. You know, it's kind of like, what other opportunities do you have to do that? That's the only one. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
So let's talk about how the Onyx could be more inviting. They have that strip behind the Onyx on the street side where cars can drive through. What if there was a valet stand there?
Ooh.
What if you drove your car up there and there was a free valet service that dropped you off at that entrance and then you went into the theater and then your car was around the other side and so you didn't have to walk through the store. Suddenly it's a far more family-friendly venue.
Then would they double box office then?
Yeah.
You know, the thing
That's
that
a
was
very
like
interesting idea.
I was just going to say, that's actually a really good idea.
Forgive me for being completely devil's advocate here, but it seems to me like, you know, you can honey glaze poop, but it doesn't make it a ham. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is like...
Either way, it's not kosher.
I wouldn't recommend it either way.
But what I mean by that is like, it's one thing to be like, okay, so let's offer a valet, let's offer this, let's offer that, let's, you know, but what is preventing the butts from getting into the seats anyway? Is it, you know, like, is it really that there isn't a valet at the back of the Onyx? Is that really the issue? Because if there's a core problem and we're not addressing that core problem, we can have as many entrances to the theater as we want, and we're still not going to get those people into the theater.
Well, I can argue that there is a core problem, and that's a combination of a lack of community and support among other theater companies and marketing. Marketing.
Well, I think that it's getting better with
I think
the
it's
new
getting better.
management with James and Brandon
I
at
think-
the Onyx, but I do.
And we're picking on the Onyx an awful lot, but this goes across the board.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
and
talking
Las
about
Vegas
beyond
Little
the Onyx. I'm
Theater,
talking about 'cause
yeah.
those butts aren't getting into any of the seats.
You're right.
You know?
You're right.
Right.
So you're going to say something else?
Yeah, I'm cautious about how I want to approach this because, and I might be the only person on this train, in which case, I don't know. But I find that I think there's a really low standard for theater right now in town, and I think the more productions I see where, and it's it's just because you can see the program I come from, and I'm really invested in technical theater, and I think a lot of, and I don't want to pick out companies, I don't want to pick out shows, maybe that's cowardice, but I don't want to be offensive to anybody.
No.
Because everybody is so passionate about their program, and about their programs, and I respect.
Well, and the fact of the matter is, kudos to you for doing it. Not you specifically, you collective you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you specifically. Kudos.
Well, and I just want to say that there's always been an argument, quantity versus quality. You know what I mean? Because there's a difference in wanting to do theater and wanting to do good theater. There's kind of and I would argue that there's a little bit of a pressure put on the community to put out a season, boom, and generate the next stuff.
The fact that it is community theater means that there isn't going to be the money aspect because we're all doing it for free. We're donating our time, we're donating our resources, and it's not always easy to put the most quality production out there when you don't have the funds and the means to be able to do that, when it's just a bunch of people donating.
So, but that makes me wonder, would you rather put up something subpar because you don't have the money? Okay, so let's say I open a show and I don't have the money to not even create a grand technical experience or, but I don't have the money to do even the bit to make it a quality production, what I consider to be a quality production.
The answer I would have
Then
for that.
Do I settle for subpar and that's what I'm selling to my theater community? Sorry, I didn't have the money for this, so this is what you get. It's
this version.
Kind of a lazy
You get this
theater
version.
thing, and
If you're not going to be able to have the money to have a big, a really high quality production, an answer is you have a big chorus. That way, everybody's parents shows up to see the show. Or you have that works. Or you do a show that people know, so that even if it's a production that's not particularly good, at least the songs carry the day. You do Rodgers and Hammerstein, you do Rodgers and Hart, you do Gilbert and Sullivan, you do something.
Very
people know.
true, and that, my friends, is why Super Summer Theater will always have audience members. That's why Signature will always have audience members, is because you have Annie, you have a family of 20 that want to come and see this show more than once.
Yeah.
I will say that I've been panned a few times, but I would never say that I was panned for lack of execution. I would say that if I've done very well critically, and I've been very blessed with that. But I have been panned a few times as a director as well. But it was always about a disagreement with what I was doing conceptually or my approach. It was never a disagreement with what I was doing technically. It was never
how you executed it
with the quality of the work that I was presenting.
Right.
And I am saddled with exactly the same challenges that everyone else is. I just got very creative. And so I also am being aware of, as much as I'd like to put on the show because so-and-so can hit the high notes, if I don't have the budget to do it, I'm not touching the show.
Well, that being said, with Assassins, I don't think we had very much of a big budget at all, but what you did have was talent. And that's what executed the show, and that's what I thought it was. I mean, granted, I'm a little biased because I was in it, but I thought it was a great production, and it was one of my favorite shows that I've ever been in.
Yeah, I think
Thank you very much. I thought you were fantastic in it, by the way. You were a gem in it. But I think that one thing that I was really, that's not lip service. That's absolute truth. you know, and as the director, I can definitely pick that show apart, and I can tell you all the things that I thought were problems in it.
Right.
And I would say that I executed about 80% of what I wanted to do, but I think that we still had a very interesting set. I think that we still...
Which I loved that it was minimal. I think, it gave... Because of that, you were able to focus on the content as opposed to...
And part of the reason that I approached it the way I did was because I knew that I didn't have the budget to build a set. So what I did was I said, okay, I do have the budget to build the inside of a circus carnival. You know, of a sideshow tent. I have that budget. That's material. You know, and so I made sure that I could do it. Troy Hurd, who we had on just recently, that guy, you give that guy a dime, and he winds up coming back with, you know, sets that could go professionally, you know. So I think that there is, I definitely agree with Kirsten in the fact that I think that we could be raising the bar as well.
So I agree, but I'm saying that, that was my argument, was the not having the funds, but the argument is having the quality.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
It's really easy to say, oh, I don't have the money, sorry.
No,
like,
but you're
we
right.
just got a table. Like,
can I tell you something? It doesn't really have to do with, it always, I mean, everything has to do with money always. I mean, let's face it. But I think it's about what you were talking about, how you execute it. Fundamentals of storytelling will suggest that you can have the same story and put it on stage for a big audience with high expectations, with a beautiful, very big spectacle. I mean, I went and saw Little Mermaid out at Tuacahn, and I was overwhelmed with the spectacle, almost to the point where it was at the disadvantage of the storytelling.
Which, I agree with you. It was a grand spectacle.
However, you could take that same story and minimize it significantly, however you want to define that, and you could still present it effectively, telling the story to an audience the same way. It takes an individual at the helm, and it takes a team of people who are willing to spend concerted time and passion into it. That's where I think we're coming from. Is that I think that the problem, if we're suggesting that the problem is that we're cranking out shows with very little concern about why we're cranking out this show and what we're doing with the message that we're trying to send, then I think that the number one thing that we need to talk about is why is this particular person at the helm of this show? What investment do they have in telling this story? Because I tell you right now, personally, I do not associate myself with any production unless I'm personally able to give 110%.
Right.
That's why I've kind of minimized my kind of what I do in the community, because I do an awful lot with the school, and I really put myself into those, and I don't want to disadvantage a production by not being able to give everything I do, because I expect the same from my directors or my co people. You know, it's like I expect everybody to be as fully committed into this project as possible. And so it's kind of like, I think it maybe is a lack of fragile, careful, handle with care.
I think you're. No, Paul, go ahead.
When an audience member is trying to decide whether to see a show or not, there has to be some known element that they know is going to be good. Is that known element the show? Is that known element a beautiful location? Is that known element an actor that they like, or a director that they like, or a company that they like? You know, what is the element that is the known element? When we talk about why is McDonald's more successful than a new restaurant that opens up, it's not because the quality of food at McDonald's is better. It's because it's predictable. You know exactly what it's going to taste like. It's reliable. You know it will taste the same at 2 a.m. and at 5 p.m. That it's predictable, reliable, consistent. That if I'm in China or Hawaii or Las Vegas, that McDonald's hamburger is going to taste the same everywhere. And there's a comfort that comes from that that an individual likes. And so people want to have some element of comfort. Now, we're talking about, it'd be great to know that the company always produces high-quality shows. But this is why so many shows on Broadway are a revival of a known show starring a celebrity actor who shouldn't be cast in this role. But it gets butts in the seats because they know what it is they're going to be receiving.
Right.
So if we don't have the ability to put on an amazing show, can we put that show in an amazing location? If we can't put it in an amazing location, can we do a known show? If we don't want to do a known show, we want to do a completely unknown show in a brand new location, a black box theater that we built in our home. Can we get a known actor? Right? So what is the what are we willing to give to the audience that wants something consistent?
Can I open it up? May I ask you what your thoughts are on that? Do you think that it's okay? Like, I'm gonna, I'm on the board of Signature Productions, so I feel it's okay for me to say this. Take Camelot, for instance, a known show. Take Signature Productions, a known company. It's going to be done in a known venue. What's the problem with that? Do you see any problem with that, or do you see different challenges?
I don't think it's a problem at all. I think that one of the big things that's lacking in this town is that not enough of the companies view the company as a business, and that's part of the success of the company is that if you're going to run a company, if you're going to do that, if you're not going to be like, hey, let's all get together, throw in what we've got and do this in a park one time for purely the art. If you want to turn it into a company, you also have to approach the business. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm not good at that part of it. So I don't try to do that part of it. I don't, and I try to bring my strengths to other places, but I'm aware that you need someone who's good at that to do that part of it. And they're very smart, but most of the people that we're talking about that aren't Super Summer Theater, that aren't Signature Productions, that don't have the budget to get an interesting place or to get a name, what it comes back to is what you said and what Paula and Erik both said, which is quality. And I think that, for me, one of the things that I approach is I say, there's that old idiom of good, fast, and cheap, pick two, And so if I'm going to get the quality that I want, I'm going to have to do it. It's not going to be fast, and so what I look at is the thing that I have to sacrifice is it's going to take a long time for me to do it well. If I want to do it cheap, it's going to take a long time for me to do it. And then I approach that, or I look at it and I say, okay, I have to give this as much quality as I can, because I felt that my set was beautiful for Zoo Story, and it was a bench and a projection on a cyc of a park. That was my set. And what was amazing was it even cast texture on the actors. I was asked if we ran gobos, how we got gobos in the Onyx space, and it wasn't. It was because the lights and the projection was causing texture that read like shadows in the trees on my actors, and it was gorgeous, and that's all it was. So then what I had to do was I had to really step up the quality. So I think that we can talk about dollars and cents, but I don't think that that's what Kirsten was addressing. I think it's overall quality.
And I don't think money is it's, money's just another element of all the elements you have when you're putting together a show. Like if you wanted to do a show in the Onyx, you can't build a giant pirate ship.
Right.
Because it's a small space. Just like you can't build a giant pirate ship, you don't have the money. It's just another element.
Well, and can I tell you something that, coming off of, and I'm going to use a personal example, we just did Peter Pan over at Faith Lutheran, which I thought was very well received.
Did you have a giant pirate ship?
We did, but can I tell you?
But he had have a giant pirate ship.
But we had the space for it.
And it wasn't like pirate ship for the sake of pirate ship. It was useful in the show.
But we only had that pirate ship because we had purchased and rented the set for All Shook Up from Signature the year before, kept those pieces, remanipulated them into a pirate ship, and then the other elements of the costumes and shows, I mean, we were in the junkyard cutting seat belts out of cars, and it took hours and hours of community work. The cast and the crew collected bottle caps and all these, everything was repurposed, and we did it with an initiative. We had a repurposing initiative. We wanted to do everything recycled, and we wanted.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything on that set was recycled.
Oh, I appreciate it so much more now that I know.
It was very cool, but it's so funny. And I will never speak bad about Love Taps, and they give us a really nice review of the show. But the one thing they kept bringing up was, well, we all know that Faith Lutheran has a huge budget. We all know that Faith Lutheran's a private school and they have a huge budget. Here's the thing, we really, really don't. We just spend an ungodly amount of time, and we amass a group of kids that are very passionate about what they do, and we kind of light the fuse under them to want to spend great gobs of time to put this together. And here's the thing, I don't mean to sound like I'm tooting my own horn or anything, but I'm just saying that at the crux of all theater has to be dirt under your fingernails. You have to put very much concerted time and effort into your passion.
Well, and that's how you get the quality. That's the argument, right?
Yeah.
The quality is the time and the care and the love.
And I think too that like let's take all of that away, and let's say that you have a miracle donor that handed you a ton of money, and you were able to bring in a prefab ship, and you're able to do all of that stuff. At the core of this, you still had kids that were doing a fantastic job on stage. So your big set was, even if it wasn't repurposed and it was just gifted to you, it was never used as a Band-Aid for the rest of the production. You know what I mean? And so that's the other thing that I think speaks very much a credit to you in your program, is that you're not hiding anything. You could take all of that away and you're still going to have a solid show.
Well, and I appreciate the kind words very much. I use it as an example because it hit kind of close to home, is that I think that any theater production can be worldly and wildly successful and accepted. You're not going to connect with every audience member, and I love the Bill Cosby quote, I don't know the keys to success, but the key to failure is trying to appeal to everyone. You know what I mean? You can't go into a production trying to make sure that everybody who leaves that is like, oh, praising this production's name. Instead, try to tell a good story. Try to tell a good story at the very, very base of everything. And how you do it, that's the fun part of theater. That's why it's fun. You know, spending hours, working on a set or working on costumes or whatever, that's a joy if you love what you do. It should never be a job. It should never be an afterthought. It should be part of the fun that you do. And so, and I think maybe that's kind of what we're trying to get at, is the fact that maybe that's what's missing, is that, are we having fun doing theater?
I think it's definitely a passion thing. I saw, I'm going to get really upset when I tell the story because it was so upsetting. And I saw a show a couple years ago here in town, and the ticket price was fairly expensive, and it was a local company, and some of the characters didn't have shoes, and that wasn't like a choice. Like,
they just didn't have shoes on.
They just didn't give those actors shoes. And I think, like,
it was held in North Las Vegas.
I mean, and like, or there was a point where there was a bunch of like guard characters, and they all had like one of them had black high-heeled boots on, and one of them had black Crocs on, and it was very apparent that it wasn't a choice. Like, it wasn't like a hodgepodge era thing they were doing. It was just lazy theater, and that's like a poison. It's not just. It was apparent on stage too, in the acting, in the work. It was apparent through that entire production, and I left so angry, and I never saw another production from that company again. But I think that if you gave them $1 million, they would have still put on a crappy production.
Well, and I would argue that theater is the most rewarding profession you can get into, but it's also the easiest profession to be lazy in. That's why so many people think they can do theater, but don't want to work to perfect their craft in doing so. You know what I mean? This is the struggle that I have with my students every day, is because I have students that are just wildly talented, have no idea the limits to their talents. Then I have some that could be wildly talented, but their entire life has been handed to them in a way that they don't have to work for anything. That's society. It's kind of a compassionless mentality. If you need an answer to something, you Google it. You don't figure it out yourself. There's very little problem solving involved. And so it's kind of like this generation is working uphill against that, because at the very essence of theater, you need to want to problem solve.
It's so funny you say that. There was this great thing that Paul, I can't remember where you posted it, Paul, that you just spoke on that. The job of an educator has changed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You were talking about this earlier. Please.
Right. So the job of an educator has changed. Academics have lost their way, because academia used to be the place you went to for knowledge. It used to be the storehouse of knowledge.
Yeah, the Miss Beadle and the little house on the prairie.
If you wanted knowledge, you go to the ivory tower and they have it. They own it. You can't have it unless you go there. Well, now my smartphone has more knowledge than any teacher does, and my smartphone can give me that knowledge faster than any teacher can. And academia has to change its path. And instead of being the storehouse of knowledge, they have to be the ones who connect knowledge, who tell you how to use the knowledge, how to actualize the knowledge, and how to tell the difference between good and bad knowledge. They can no longer just be the warehouse of the corn, right?
Love it. And it's very, very true. And the teacher that doesn't think that they have nothing else to learn is a teacher that's going to bury themselves up to the neck before the first day is over. You need to be a part of the student body that you're teaching, as well as the teacher. You need to learn something from your students, not just be the teacher. And because I'll tell you right now, in that class, there's kids that know how to run this little machine called a laptop better than I do. It's just a matter of how can we complement one another in our paths to get to the next. Because you also mentioned something about how it's not, when we talk about college, you get to college, it's not so much about. You say it. You
Sure.
kind of say it
I used to
brilliantly.
say to my students, I said, the purpose of college is not education.
Right.
The purpose of college is certification. Education is something you get along the way if it's something you are passionate about,
Mhm.
if it's something you want to do on your own. But your job here is not to get educated. Your job here is to be certified.
Right.
And the way you do that is to take these classes from these teachers offered at these times and answer the way that the teacher wants you to answer. Even if that's not the greatest for your education, maybe you'd be better off taking fencing.
Mhm.
But if fencing isn't part of the curriculum to get your certification,
Not gonna be.
don't take fencing as your core component. Do that on your own time.
And it's so funny because as a teacher who needs to be recertified every 3 to 4 years, going in to take that praxis test, it's so daunting for me. I found it extraordinarily ironic that I had to write a 3-page answer in an amount of time with a number 2 pencil in these blue books, about how we need to accommodate people with learning disabilities. And here I am, somebody who is medicated for ADD and OCD, is sitting here trying to put together how to write it out in a paragraph form when I should. Can I have some extra time, please? Or, you know what I mean? It's like trying to collect my thoughts. I thought it was so ironic.
Can you bring me some clay and some finger paints?
Right.
'Cause this will make so much more sense.
I'm going to need 2 pigeons, some Dannon yogurt. No, but the thing is, it's funny because you're absolutely right. It's the process of certification, and we wonder why we can't keep teachers in this state. It's problematic at its core.
I'm noticing this theme that it seems like, for my money, and and I'm not claiming to be some genius that has all the answers, but just from my outside observation and looking at what resonates in my core, that we keep saying, okay, well, at its core there's a problem. At its core there's a problem, and that's a sentence that we've used 3 or 4 times in the show tonight. And it sounds like what we're kind of honing in on, and correct me if I'm wrong if you guys disagree, I was really blessed at Utah Shakes to work with Robert Cohen one season, who, if you don't know Robert Cohen, he wrote the text Acting 1, and he wrote the book Acting Professionally. And
Any college theater student should know Robert Cohen.
Yeah, and I was very blessed to get to work with him.
Cohen.
And I had an opportunity to talk to him for like 5 minutes, and the question that I asked him was, how do you know if this is what you're supposed to do? And his answer to me was, do you love anything more than this? Because if you do that. That was his answer to me. And I think that at its core, what we're talking about is passion. Is that if you're not passionate about what you're doing, do something else.
That's why. That's why. And something, I agree. It's kind of ironic that you brought it up because I was kind of struggling with the business end of putting on theater production and running a program at a private school, and I was getting so frustrated with the things that you got to go, the red tape that you got to go through, the hoops you got to jump through, and sometimes it's ridiculous. You got to, and like Sean said earlier, I'm not of the business end of doing things. My mind doesn't work that way, and to fill out a form that has to be approved by this person that has to go to this desk and then this desk to get a reserved space doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I can't wrap my head around it enough to willingly make myself fill out that form. It doesn't make sense. And so it's kind of like you've got to be able to get past it. You've got to be able to get past those little tiny things and find purpose in them so that it makes sense in the bigger picture of what you're passionate about. It has to be a part of it. It's like putting. Is your underpants the most important article of clothing? Well, I would argue probably not, because you don't wear them on the outside, but you got to put them on first, before you do anything else, because it's an essential element of what you do every day. It's not probably your favorite thing. It's probably not the favorite piece of laundry that you like to put in the laundry every week, but it's part of what you have to do. And it's probably not as favorably looked upon as the others, but at the same time, it's part of what you have to do.
Speak for yourself.
So, in some cases, some people skip it altogether. They're just like, no.
A cliche.
They call that buck theater. They just move on.
A cliche.
Tim Burst wears a kilt. He's circumvented.
A cliched line In the word show business, one word is bigger by double, business. And we need to be highly aware of that. And if we don't like the business end of it, I like the comment that you guys were making earlier about, actors without technicians, are naked alone in the dark, and technicians without actors have marketable skills, and both of them without the business end of theater have to go get jobs with those marketable skills.
Right.
And so theater doesn't happen if we don't care about that.
Right.
And so we have to be highly aware of getting butts in seats and doing what it takes to get butts in seats. Otherwise, theater doesn't happen. You're in a lucky situation in that Faith Lutheran School will continue on whether your play is successful or not.
It's true.
So you're able to put on plays only through the blessing of there being a Faith Lutheran School.
Yep.
But some of these theater companies can only continue doing their theater through the blessing of whoever is getting butts in seats.
And in that vein, I would argue that you're very right. Some theater companies without this person at the helm would crumble, But in general, in Las Vegas, without you, whoever I'm talking to, theater's going to go on. Theater's going to continue to produce itself. We're still going to have opportunities for people to be involved in or go and watch theater. And I think that sometimes, oftentimes, theater becomes about the individual and the individual's personal whatever and contributions, and how does that weigh in the community and stuff. And that's too bad, because I think also something that we haven't really defined and kind of brought into the spotlight, but is equally important, is the fact that theater is special because it's ensemble. You know what I mean? And you can be a painter and create beautiful works of art all by yourself in a closet in the dark. But theater has to be an ensemble project.
Yeah, and I think that that's an important distinction to make. That there's nothing wrong with being one of the people that doesn't like business.
Right.
But if you're not, like you being hyper aware of business is also knowing that you need to hire someone.
Right.
You need to have someone in place who can do that. Like my friend Romeo and I, we're launching a page in January that's called Theatervine.
Yep.
Theatervine.com, and Theatervine is it's going to be a resource for the community to foster the arts in Las Vegas, where people will be able to post events, and there will be blogging, and basically it's like Facebook for theater companies without the pokes and the games, but it's going to be this great resource, and I don't know how to do any of that. And I had my friend do all of that, and what he told me, the reason that he brought me on board is because I know theater and he doesn't. So the two of us together, we were able to form this Voltron of creating this, this page. And so I think it's important. And that's, again, bringing us back to Rainbow Company, that I think is so neat about that, is that those kids are running the business end of it as well. Those kids are selling tickets, selling programs. Those kids are working in the box office. Those kids are on phones. And I know at your school, I've been there attending, rehearsals, and I hear it come out of your mouth more than anything else in your notes session is you need to get your ads in. And what you're teaching those kids by selling those ads is this doesn't go up magically. That there is a business aspect to this, and you have to learn that.
I thought you were going to say ass, not ads. And I think you should make that your tagline for Theatervine. Facebook without the pokes.
That's right.
I think
Facebook theater people without the pokes.
Well, listen, I do need to take one more break, then we'll be back really, really briefly to say goodbye. But hang tight. This is Curtain Call with Erik Ball. Hang on.
Hi there, this is Rick Ellis, and you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
How fresh is Sweet Tomatoes produce? Let's just say within 24 hours of being in the ground, it's on a refrigerated truck on its way to the restaurant. Sweet Tomatoes food is fresh from the farm to your fork and made from scratch every single day. Sweet Tomato Salad Bar includes fresh tossed signature salads and fresh cut produce, plus 8 made-from-scratch soups, hot pasta, muffins made from scratch. You can also create your own low-fat yogurt dessert. Something healthy and nutritious for the entire family. Treat yourself and your family to fresh, great-tasting, wholesome recipes, fresh seasonal vegetables, and tossed salads prepared every 20 minutes. There's 4 Sweet Tomato locations in the Las Vegas and Henderson area. For more information and hours, visit www.sweettomatoes.com or call 888-374-8358.
cast of Hot in Cleveland.
Want to hear a joke?
Yeah, sure.
What's the #1 killer of women?
Well, you're still here, so that rules out crankiness.
And tracksuits.
Heart disease.
But that's a joke?
Oh, no, it's an absolute fact, but the American Heart Association says you can save lives by passing it along to 5 women you love.
Aww.
So I'm starting with 3 I tolerate. That's a joke.
Find out more at goredforwomen.org.
Hey, this is Julia Murney, and you are absolutely listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball. Don't stop listening.
Welcome back. This is Curtain Call, and we're going to have to wrap up this second hour. Boy, that hour went by like the freaking wind, and it's gone with the wind. And
that's what that smell was.
Yeah, and you know, that's the last time I drink coffee in the studio. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. We have Miss Kirsten. And I'm leaving it at that because I always screw up her last name.
You're like Madonna.
Say your last name one more time. Kirsten? Kuroishi. And like we said before, you know Kirsten. You just don't know you know her because she's the spokesperson for Auto Insurance America. You can see her on all the commercials that are on TV. She's awesome. Paul Draper, thank you so much for being in the studio. You are a fascinating man and just invigorating conversation, and I'm fascinated by what you do. This is a topic that I would like to revisit sometime and maybe kind of delve even a little further into my mind, because I've been paying so much for therapy that no.
And when we bring him back, what would be really fun is, I said he practices being an outside observer. I'd love to get his thoughts on us.
Yeah.
on what our little culture is.
I think that would be brilliant. But thank you. And people, if you're interested in finding out more about Paul Draper and where he's going, he said earlier he's starting a 18-city tour in January. Go to paulwdraper.com. He has a newsletter you can sign up for.
And January 5th, come to the Winchester Cultural Center at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for a night of deception.
That's right, and you can...
Should have been called an afternoon of deception, because it's 2, but, you know.
And there's actually information about that event and that particular venue on clarkcountynv.gov. clarkcountynv.gov.
The Winchester Cultural Center.
That's right, and check that out. And then also, part of the Clark...
Vegas.
Yeah, it is here in Vegas. Also on the clarkcountynv.gov site, but you can also go to their website, is the Rainbow Company Theater, rainbowcompany.org, or you can just go to the city Parks and Recreation type website and search for it through there. I'm going to encourage everybody to head over to faiththeatercompany.com and get your tickets to the upcoming musical, the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. It's January 11th through the 20th, and it is a fantabulous production in general, but the kids that are a part of this, it's just fantastic. You're going to want to check it out. You can also go to, I have artslasvegas.org here. Check out artslasvegas.org. You can get more information about everything that's going on with Rainbow Company and different programs that you can enroll students in Vegas and get them more active in arts in general. Lots of auditions coming up. My biggest suggestion is to like our Facebook page. Just search Curtain Call with Erik Ball and like it, and then we can hook you up with all of the auditions that are coming up and everything like that. A big shout out to LV Taps and the boys over there. They do like a weekly podcast. They're kind of like our sister program, and they're wonderful. You should definitely tune in every Monday or Tuesday. They post that on Facebook. Got to say thank you to Liz Matthews, who is just brilliant, and I love your face, and I'm so glad you joined us today.
It's my pleasure.
You're welcome anytime. Sean Critchfield, who again I hope will join us on a more permanent basis every Sunday.
We'll see.
I'll bring cookies next time. I'm in cookies. And good, fast, or cheap. You can only pick 2. I hope that you at least pick tuning in and listening to Curtain Call every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. And you can also go to YouTube and listen to archived episodes, including this one. So
I pick cookies.
So, thank you to Chris Scott, our producer. We always appreciate his help, and he unlocks the door for us every Sunday. And so thank you guys for being on the air, and we will talk to you guys next week with Curtain Call with Erik Ball. Take it easy.
Hey, it's Andrew Keenan Bolger. I play Crutchy in Newsies, and you're watching Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
for Las Vegas's best sports talk. Keep it tuned right here to the sports voice of Las Vegas, AM 1400 KSHP, North Las Vegas.
Are you sick and tired of your garage door going up but never coming down, or going down and coming back up on its own? The kids knocking the motion sensors around? Oh, it's a nightmare. Custom Hearth and Door is here to help. They are your one-stop shop for garage doors, garage door openers, and repairs. Great service deals all the time. Also, you can't beat Custom Hearth and Door and not do fireplaces, as they provide high-quality wood-burning and gas-fired fireplaces, fireplace inserts and stoves, chimney systems, and accessories. Custom Hearth features the best brand names in the business, including the Lift